America Mothers Out Rocking. I want to say thank you to Sophia, Makiva, Alice, Ella, and Eliza for making that mob of moms happen. So we're here today to dance, of course, but we're also here to send a message to Governor Patrick. We need your bold leadership now to make change in the face of climate change. I'm Electa Sevier. I'm a Boston mother of two and a member of the Mothers Out Front leadership team. There won't be a lot of speaking today, I promise, but I wanted to let you know what we have in store. We have 3 mothers who are going to briefly share their stories, and then we're going to do some chanting to get our activist juices flowing, and then we're going to have a performance by the marvelous Margot Fox. And of course, there are art projects, face painting, food, and fun. We hope you'll get to know the other families out there who are part of our movement, and if you haven't already, make your switch to clean electricity and help build our power. Today is about power. Our power, the power of moms, and the need for clean power for our children. So we have the triple crown of mom power here to speak to you today with 3 powerful women. I'm hoping they're here. There they are, the triple crown right there behind me. So first we have Ann Goodwin, who's part of the powerful and inspirational Arlington team, where she's the team's volunteer coordinator. Then we're going to have Nina Dillon, who is a lot of power in a small package. She is part of the Cambridge team and a member of the tireless Mothers Out Front communications team. And finally, we're going to have Sara Snow, who coordinates the Mothers Out Front powerful house party effort. 90 parties strong, and the momentum just keeps on growing. Now, Vanessa is tapping me. If you guys want to be able to hear the stories, you might want to move into the sun for just a brief time. I promise they're going to be short and very good. Right, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Ann.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Ann Goodwin, and I live in Arlington, Massachusetts. When I sent my daughter to public school, I was sad to see that the kindergarten class studied endangered rainforest animals. The bulletin board full of charming construction paper fish and birds was heartbreaking. It said to me, we adults messed up the world, and the best we can do now is make you kids really scared so you might do something when you grow up. So my daughter went through her school years, and the bad news about our planet kept piling up. Tsunamis, mudslides, storms, drought, hunger, polar bears on ice floes. The media whipped up the fear, and the government remained silent. I looked for a way to understand it so I could talk about it with my child. I wanted to add my own voice to those she was hearing at school and on TV. But there was just too much to absorb. I became so overwhelmed that I ended up more or less sitting on the couch with my hands over my eyes at the state of the world as if it were a scary movie. Inside, a lump of despair was quietly growing. It seemed like it was too late and I could do too little. It seemed like I had to be an expert in a suit or a lab coat to enter the discussion. Telling the terrible facts was supposed to make things change, but I couldn't bring myself to study them. I was not going to become an expert on the economics of fossil fuel or climate change. I could make greener shopping choices, drive a Prius, and recycle, and I did all of that. And though it made me feel a little better and it set some kind of example, it didn't seem like enough. And I knew there were climate activists out there, but I didn't see myself as an activist. I would sometimes sign an online petition, but that's about all I could manage. Not my path either. Back to the couch and the familiar lump of despair. So eventually my daughter grew up and went to college. When I saw her go out in the world, so tender and so full of promise, I felt I couldn't look her in the eye or live with myself if I wasn't doing all I could do to protect her future. Maybe I was inspired by her brave way of taking on new experiences. Maybe I felt the urgency of getting older, and now I had more time on my hands. It was time to find my path and my voice. So when I heard about Mothers Out Front, I thought, a mother's climate change movement, what a good idea. So I peeled myself off the couch and found my way to a Mothers Out Front gathering. There I was part of a circle of women sharing our feelings about our kids and the world. I realized then that the voice of mothers is the one that needs to be heard now. Broken hearts, despair, anger, intelligence, and passion. The voice of love and protection for future generations. And in numbers, how powerful could that voice be? I started attending meetings of Mothers Out Front in Arlington at a local coffee shop. There I met younger mothers and grandmothers. We got to know each other and felt energized by our work. And together we figured out what to do step by step. A couple months later, we had organized a public meeting attended by over 50 people. We wrote a brochure about talking to our children about climate change and distributed it at our library. We gathered on the steps of the State House. We questioned gubernatorial candidates at their debates. And we have a mailing list of over 180 supporters in our town. We meet regularly at that coffee shop, sometimes with our young kids in tow. We laugh a lot. And now we're talking about how to get households to switch to renewable energy and how to get our message to the governor. So I did find my path, and it turned out that I am an activist after all, but it's about leading with my heart, speaking my truth, and working in relationship. Inside the lump of despair was my love of the world and my connection with others, and that's where I found my power. I hope that you might see yourself in my story and may decide to join us. You are qualified, you are important, and you are needed. You have everything to gain for yourself and your children's future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nina Dillon. I live in Cambridge, Mass. And I'd like to tell you a story about a three-letter word. 14 months ago, before Mothers Out Front even had a name, I was invited to a gathering of moms concerned about the climate for their children's future. I said, sure, I'd attend. At that house party, I was asked, would I be interested in organizing other moms who shared my concerns? I thought, I have no idea what that really would mean, but I said, I guess so. A month later, when I was asked, did I want to attend an all-day workshop with Mothers Out Front, I said, okay. I went to that training thinking it would prepare me to host my own house party. I could do that. But everyone around me seemed to think we were being trained to go to other people's houses and facilitate theirs. I thought, that is so not me. When I realized I should open a Facebook account to spread the word about Mothers Out Front, I thought, OMG, I hate Facebook. But now you can friend me, I'm there. And a few days ago, when I was asked, would I stand up behind a microphone in the middle of Boston Common to share my story, I thought, no way. But then a familiar disquiet began to nag at me. The unhappy alliance between climate change and asthma. It took me to mid-July 1999, a phone call with Kaiser Hospital. The night nurse could hear my 5-month-old daughter's labored breathing in the background, and I've always remembered her words. I don't like the way she sounds, she said. I think you should bring her in. Asthma rates are skyrocketing and will continue to do so as our climate warms. Many more mothers and babies will experience nights like that one Eva and I had 15 years ago. Some not fortunate enough to live 2 miles from an emergency room. When I allow myself to confront this reality or let my mind wander into a world where food is scarce and flooding is rampant, I say to myself, no way. No way will I let my fears, doubts, and insecurities stopping me from taking action when action is so desperately needed. So the three-letter word that keeps coming out of my mouth is YES. The first time I felt the real power of Mothers Out Front was at a house party in Somerville. And yes, I was facilitating. It took a lot of people to say yes to make that day happen. Yes, I'll develop a training manual. Yes, I'll write a planning protocol. Yes, I'll open my home and invite my friends. Yes, I'll attend. Among the women sitting in that living room that day was Juliet, a professor of environmental science whose area of expertise is carbon cycles. Wow, I thought, that's an amazing person to have in this room. Another was Mary Lou, who shared that she'd only recently learned about the dangers of global warming and how very awkward it felt to be the only one of her friends who even believed that climate change was real. She was afraid to even talk about it. Wow, I thought, that's an amazing woman to have in this room. Juliet and Mary Lou came to that house party from very different places, but for the same reason, a mother's devotion to the health and well-being of her children. They became powerful together. The next time I saw Mary Lou, she was standing at the podium at our Power Up campaign kickoff, telling her story of the work she feels called to do with Mothers Out Front. Somehow, between that living room in Somerville and that meeting hall filled with 350 people, Mary Lou had found her voice. And it gave me goosebumps. Not only because her story is one of the hundreds that makes Mothers Out Front such a wealth of hope and possibility, but because just that feeling that I may have played some small role in helping Mary Lou find her power helped me discover mine. Each of us is here today because we said, yes, I'll be there. It may have been your 100th yes to Mothers Out Front, or your very first. Every single one of those inches us closer to the bright and promising clean energy future we all want for our children. There is much work to be done. Will you say yes to Mothers Out Front one more time? Yes. And then again? Yes. And ask others to say yes? Because that's what it's going to take to get one father in particular to help us make this happen. He has a key role to play, but he needs the backing of thousands of us across Massachusetts. Will you stand with Mothers Out Front as we ask Governor Patrick to make Massachusetts the first state to commit only to clean energy? Governor Patrick, we mothers and grandmothers are confronting our fears, overcoming obstacles, and stepping up to the greatest challenge of our generation. With us by your side, we know you can do the same. Just say YES.
Gosh, I don't know how I'm going to follow those amazing speakers. I said to Vanessa, I'd love to make a speech, that's fine, but I won't be able to write it until Saturday. So I only wrote it yesterday. And she said, Sarah, this is far too political. Can you tone it down a bit? So here goes. Oh, thank you. I'm 6'1". Thank you. Hello, my name is Sarah. I live in Cambridge, and I'm a mother of 4 children, and I'm a house party facilitator, which means that I go around to house parties and try to get more people involved in Mothers Out Front. It's a very rewarding job, and we're always looking for more people to do it. So if you want to, please get in touch with me or with Michelle Gillis on the website. I want you to close your eyes to cast your minds forward in time to the year 2030. How old will you be? How old will your children be? My children will be in their 20s and 30s, and hopefully they will have secure jobs and families and children of their own. What will the Earth look like? How will it have changed? We know now that by the year 2030, Earth will have changed dramatically in what it looks like and how it acts. Average temperatures will have warmed, ocean levels risen, extreme weather like hurricanes and droughts become routine. Our daily lives will be ruled by the weather in a way that seems unbelievable now. Come back now to 2014. How's your year gone so far? I know mine's been full of work and life stresses, little joys and moments of happiness, marked by routines of pickups, drop-offs, birthday parties, SATs. Oh, it all seemed so important at the time. And yet, I can't help thinking, what will be the legacy that I pass on to my children? We talk so much about children being happy, healthy, smart, socialized, kind, resilient. But will this matter to them in 2030? In 2030, will my kids thank me for the hours I spent throwing baseballs at them? Or will they ask me what I did about climate change? One of the hardest things I find about being a mother out front is to be both present and future, to be both cultural and somehow countercultural. Because so much about being a mother is in the present or the near present, the cotton wool of everyday life, as the writer Virginia Woolf called it. The domestic day-to-day in which all mothers operate makes it hard to look forward and back at the same time, to make present judgments based on future prognoses, especially if the prognoses are scary. After all, we go to the doctor because we want to know that we will recover, that the future looks rosy, that the prognosis is good. How do I deal with the concept that the earth on which I walk, bike, drive every day has a dire prognosis? How does this affect my actions? It's really hard to act against the culture in which I was raised and which I live, a culture which praises material success, the individual work, big houses, fancy cars, nice vacations. And how often have I acted collectively, interdependently, for something that I believe in? This is new to me. And yet, this is the power and the glory of mothers out front. Here, today, I am here, and you are here, prioritizing what we know to be right, what we believe in, because we fear for the future and for our children's futures. 12 short months ago, Mothers Out Front started in the basement of someone's house in Cambridge and now has grown incredibly into a strong, vibrant, and viable movement with hundreds of volunteers like me in communities around Boston and beyond. Since last year, I've seen mothers and others from Boston to the Pioneer Valley putting their pressing everyday anxieties aside in order to work tirelessly on making a more livable climate for their children. And I'm proud to be one of them. I know that together we can reverse climate change. And here's how. In April of this year, the International Panel on Climate Change published its report that detailed the inevitability of climate change and its effect on the Earth and our lives. I won't go into it here, you can read it online, but it was mostly chilling and frightening. However, the report did offer a crumb of hope. If we all act now to stop burning fossil fuels, we can slow climate change down. It's like having smoked for 20 years and then you quit. Your lungs can and do start to repair themselves. So too with the Earth. There is hope, but we have to act now. And the way we have to act is by stopping burning fossil fuels for our energy needs. It's as simple as that. Simple, yet difficult. While the technology is there for us to get our energy needs from renewables such as wind and solar, tragically, the political will is not. Too many politicians, Republican and Democrat, are beholden to corporate interests and choose to support dirty energy. And I include natural gas in this category, along with coal and oil. This is a fact. Dirty energy is throwing its considerable financial clout behind ensuring that the US continues to make dangerous energy choices that threaten our children's future. And we have to act to change this political will. The technology is there, and it's affordable. The point is that governments don't always act in the interests of people like us, but in the vested interests that fund them. In other words, we need to act. And this is what we have to change as mothers out front. First, we switch our electricity bills to clean, green, renewable energy. How? We get a copy of our electricity bill and we click on a couple of buttons on the Mothers Out Front website. And why? First, it's good for climate change, but most importantly, by switching collectively and in large numbers, we send a loud, clear message to Governor Patrick that we won't stand for any more fossil fuel energy in our homes in Massachusetts. We want him to sign an executive order to ban fossil fuel infrastructure in Massachusetts and make it the first state to get all its energy needs from renewables. And we can only do it if we show him that the will is there. And when we say fossil fuel, we mean natural gas too. We mean natural gas too. It's a fossil fuel, just like coal and oil. All this to say, unequivocally and strongly to you, that renewable energy is the only way forward. So I want to ask you today, how many of you here today have switched to clean, renewable energy for your households? Woo! Did you do it on the Mothers Out Front website? How many of you who haven't will commit to switching today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, excellent. And can you get others to switch too? Your families, neighbors, friends? I can't stress to you enough the importance of numbers on this. Numbers equal power, and power equals change. And that way we can send a loud and clear message to Governor Patrick that we are thinking beyond his term and his successor's term, that we are present and we are future. We are frightened in our thoughts, yet urgent in our actions, that we are committed to our children and their future, not present short-term solutions, that we are warrior mothers and grandmothers, armed with our knowledge, our hope and our love, that together we can make the change the earth needs. Thank you very much.